Hello friends, welcome to Finance MCQ. Friends, I am CA Pritam Sangwan and today we will discuss some of the important budget highlights which is relevant for exam point of view. So let's start this discussion. Friends, we will not discuss the entire budget. Here we will discuss only the important one from your macroeconomics point of view, from important updates or amendments from direct tax point of view and your indirect tax point of view, that is mainly from GST. So friends, fiscal deficit for this year is proposed to be 6.4% of GDP as compared to previous year of 6.9%. So do keep this in mind. They may ask question on this. The second important update is regarding digital rupee to be launched by RBI using blockchain technology. Now what is this digital rupee? It's a digital currency like cryptocurrency, all those things. So government is saying that we will launch our own digital rupee which will be launched by RBI using blockchain technology. And the third important update is projected GDP. In economic survey say the projected GDP for 2022 to 23 is 8 to 8.5%. So these are some of the important updates from which a question can be asked in your examination. Now let's talk about the changes or amendments in direct taxes. So here we'll just talk about Income Tax Act. So friends, here the first one is surcharge rate. So they have specified now the maximum cap in some of the cases. So here for individual HUF, AOP and BOI, here the maximum surcharge can be levied on capital gain is 15%, and same in case of association of person. If all members are companies only, then also the maximum surcharge cap is 15%. Friends, these are the rate of surcharge and not the tax rate, so do keep this in mind. Here we are just talking about the maximum cap on surcharge amount. The second one, in case of cooperative societies, here they are saying if cooperative society is earning income between 1 to 10 crore, then the maximum surcharge will be 7%, and if income is about 10 crore, then the maximum surcharge that can be levied is 12%. So they have put a cap of maximum surcharge rate. Now the second one is AMT, alternate minimum tax on cooperative society, is reduced from 18 to 15%. So earlier they were having 18%, so now they have reduced to 15% for cooperative societies. So do keep this in mind. A question can be asked on this. The second one is from your income from salaries. Here what they are saying that if any sum is paid by employer to employee for COVID related expenditure. So here what basically they are saying that if an employer paid any sum to the employee related to the expenditure for treatment of COVID treatment to himself or for his family member of the employee, then such amount will not be form part of a salary and will not be considered as a perquisites. So it is an amendment in section 17. Likewise, they have also made amendment in section 56 where they are mentioning that certain incomes will not be considered as an income, and which one are those. So here they are saying if you have received any income from any person for COVID treatment for yourself or for your family member, then that amount will not be considered as your income and will not be chargeable to tax. And the second point is if any sum is received by family member of a deceased person, say suppose a person died and his family member received certain money, then they have also mentioned that such treatment is to be given to that particular amount. Say if the amount is received from an employer, then such income is exempt or not chargeable to tax, and if any income received from any other person, then up to 10 lakh rupees such income will not be considered, and after that the income about 10 lakh will be considered as part of your income. So if I tell you in a very easy manner, say if a person died due to COVID and his family received say 10 lakh from his employer, so such 10 lakh will not be part of income. And say if a person receives say 15 lakh from his friends that they all contributed and paid rupees 15 lakh to family of a deceased person, then in this case up to 10 lakh such income will not be considered, and about 10 lakh say 5 lakh will only be considered as a income of that particular person. So do keep this in mind that only rupees about 10 lakh will be part of the income and not up to 10 lakh in case if it is received from any other person by a family member of the deceased person. So I hope this is clear. So do keep this in mind. A question can be asked from this topic. Now let's talk about some changes in business or profession income sections. The first one is amendment in section 35, that is expenditure on scientific research. Here they are saying it will be allowed only if donee files statement of donations. So like various organizations which are carrying the scientific research, you have spent some expenditure on that, so you will be allowed as a deduction only if they have filed statement of donation. If they have not filed statement of donation, then they are not eligible for claiming expenditure on scientific research. So this is a new amendment that they have added. Then amendment in section 14A, here they have mentioned that disallowance of expenses on exempt income. So what they are saying, that if any expenditure incurred in previous year shall be disallowed in case exempt income not accrued or received during the previous year. Say suppose in previous year you have certain exempt income and you have incurred some expenditure toward that income. So earlier what used to happen, that you are eligible to claim that expenditure, but now they are saying you will be able to claim that expenditure only if such income is accrued or received during that year. Then only the corresponding expenditure to earn that income is allowed in that year. So I hope it is clear. Now the next amendment in section 14, it is related to disallowance of surcharge and cess. So here what they are saying, that the tax paid includes surcharge and cess. So what happens, whatever the income tax or any business tax you pay will not be allowed as a expenditure, but in that definition the surcharge and cess was not there, so people used to claim that surcharge and cess as an expenditure. Now they have specifically amended the section and said that tax includes surcharge and cess and same will not be allowed as a deduction, and it is a retrospective amendment, so it will be applicable from 1st April 2005. Next amendment in section 115 BAB, it is related to concessional rate of taxation at 15%. In past budget they have announced that if any entity manufacturing or producing any article or unit, then such entity is allowed to pay tax at a concessional rate of 15%. So earlier they have mentioned that the date of commencement of such activity shall be 31st March, but now they have extended that date to 31st March 2024. And the second section is section 80 IC related to startups. Here they are saying that any startup is eligible to claim benefit for 3 out of 10 years in which they can claim the benefit of this section and not required to pay any taxes. So earlier the requirement was that you have to incorporate that particular startup before the particular date. So now they have extended that date of incorporation till 31st March 2023. So 1 year extension is granted, that by this time if you incorporate your startup, then you are eligible for 80 IAC deduction benefits. Now in deduction also they have made certain amendments. So in that section 80 CCD, they are saying that contribution made by state government to national pension scheme of its employee will be eligible to be claimed deduction at 14%. Earlier the deduction was 10% of the salary. Now they have increased the limit to 14%. Then another deduction is also amended in section 80 DD. Here they are saying that deduction is allowed if any amount is paid to LIC or any other insurance in respect of maintenance of a disabled independent. So if you are having a disabled independent and if you have made any contribution to LIC and you have received any annuity or lump sum amount from them, then during the benefit of lifetime of dependent, that is attaining the age of 60 years or more, then you are eligible to claim such deductions. So that the amendment they have made in the section. Now some amendment in set off and carry forward. Here they have inserted a new section, that is section 79A. Here they are saying that if any income arise due to search, requisition or survey, then set off of any brought forward losses or unobserved depreciation shall not be allowed against such income. So what it means, say suppose if there is a raid happen recently, that if you may know that in Kanpur income tax raided and they have recovered 200 crore worth rupees cash. So this income we are talking about, that any income arised due to search, requisition or survey, then no set off or brought forward or unobserved depreciation etc. will be allowed to set off against such income. So suppose if that owner will say, I have 300 crores brought forward business losses, so since I have this 200 crore income, I will set this losses against it, and net still I am at 100 crore loss, so I will not need to pay tax. So government is saying no, this 200 crores is not allowed to be set off of any brought forward losses or unobserved depreciation. You have to pay tax on the same. So this amendment they have added in the section. So I hope it is clear. Now another new section is regarding virtual digital assets. Now what is this virtual digital assets? All your cryptocurrencies, bitcoins, etherums, NFT, all those are your digital assets. So earlier there is no taxation provision for these assets, so they have specifically amended the section and they have amended the act and they have included a new section 115 BBH. So here all your digital assets will be taxed at flat 30% rate. No deduction of any expenditure or set off of losses is allowed except cost of acquisition. Say suppose if you have sell the asset for say 100 and you purchase the asset at 30, then 70 will straightforward will be taxed at the rate of 30%. No other expenditure or set off of any losses will be allowed. In this 70 rupees income, you have to pay tax at the rate 30%. And say suppose if you incur any loss from sale of such asset, say here you purchased the asset at 200 rupees and you sell at 50, so you have incurred a loss of 150 rupees. So what will happen in this case? So the department is saying that no such loss is allowed to be set off against other heads of income or carry forward. Even you cannot carry forward that loss. So your loss is your loss and your income we will take tax out of that. So very clear in this. And if you receive any gift of such digital assets, then it will be taxable in the hands of recipient. Whoever received the gift will be liable to pay tax. Then they have also mentioned that TDS at the rate of 1% to be deducted in case of a transfer, when you transfer to another person and receive consideration by a specified person. If consideration is more than 50,000, then 1% is TDS is to be deducted, and for unspecified person, then if transfer is more than 10,000, then 1% TDS needs to be deducted. So do keep this in mind. This is very important amendment and it's recently in trend, all the digital assets and all those things. So specifically a new section is introduced, so you need to know the rate of tax first thing, and second, set off of losses from VDA, that is virtual digital assets. No set off of losses is allowed against any head, or even carry forward of losses is also not allowed. So only if you earn income you have to pay tax. No carry forward or set off of losses is allowed. So I hope it is clear. Now important update in returns. So here they have inserted a new section, that is section 139 8A regarding updated returns. So an assessee can update his return within 2 years from relevant assessment year. So you can update your return within 2 years. So do keep this in mind, this 2 years within relevant assessment year. So these two are the important thing here regarding updated return, that they have amended the section, amended and inserted a new clause regarding updated return, that it can be filed within 2 years from relevant assessment year. So I hope it is clear. Now let's talk about certain amendments in indirect taxes. So here we are talking about just GST. Changes of Customs Act are not discussed here because mostly the GST portion is asked in the examination. So first one is input tax credit. So here they have amended the section 53. It is related to interest liability and it is a retrospective change effective from 1st July 2017. Here they are saying interest liability only on input credit wrongly availed and utilized. So they have added the word and utilized, that is if you have taken the input credit, wrongly availed and utilized it, then you are liable for interest and rate of interest will be 18%. Earlier such rate of interest was 24%. Now they have reduced to 18%. So they have added the word utilized. If you have utilized that input credit which is wrongly availed and utilized, then interest at the rate 18% will be liable on such amount. The second one is cancellation of GST return. So friends, here they are saying this GSTR 4, it is for annual return to be filed by composite dealers. So who are the composite dealers? So annually they have to file GSTR 4. The due date is on or before 30th April of following financial year. So by that time you need to file this GSTR return who are composite dealer, and in case not filed within 3 months from the due date, so from 30th April 3 months, if you not filed till that time, so registration can be cancelled in that case. So do keep this in mind, very important update for composite dealers. So friends, these are the all important updates that are very much relevant from your exam point of view. Try to remember all these updates from the budget, and question 1 or 2 question can be asked from these topics. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any question, do write in the comment section. I'll try to answer them, and do try to remember these important updates which can be asked in your examination. So thank you so much.